Today I will demonstrate how to use Greenshot to take, edit, and annotate screenshots. To begin with, this is the web page where you would go to get your Greenshot download. It's called getgreenshot.org, and you can see down here the download now sign. And this only works with Windows currently. There is a Mac version, but it was developed separately. It's not gotten great reviews, and it does cost money. So it's only free if you're using it with Windows. I know that you have built-in screen capture capability on your computer, but the great thing about Greenshot is that you can then edit or annotate your screenshot. If you've used Snagit before, this is very similar, but Snagit costs money, and this is a free open resource tool. So why do you need something like Greenshot? Number one, I use screenshots a lot for tutorials. If you've ever tried to explain to your students how to use a particular resource that you want them to use, but it's really hard to explain using just words, this is a great way to give them a visual. Or maybe someone emails you with a question, but it's easier to show them than to explain. Sometimes you need a whole video to explain, but sometimes you just need a well-placed graphic. And lastly, screenshots can give visual cues to aid in understanding. What about charts and graphs from your reading materials that you want to incorporate into a presentation? Screenshots make it easy to do that. Having said that, I also need to clarify that copyright still applies. Make sure you are licensed to use the materials in that way. But if you're using an open educational resource, it's likely licensed to be used that way. I also want to encourage you to make sure that when you use images in your course materials, you are using alt text appropriately to make those materials accessible. And for the sake of accessibility, graphics should not be the only way you communicate pertinent information, but it can still be an aid to many of your students. Okay, let's see what we can do with this tool. For this demonstration, I found an open educational resource through our library. Notice it's licensed, attribution, non-commercial, share alike. That means that I can adapt and remix the material for educational purposes as long as I attribute the source. If you are unsure about the licensing of materials you want to use, ask one of the librarians or me. This is an image that I found in this book. It's an example of how to use Cornell Notes. Let's say that I wanted to teach my students how to use Cornell Notes. Once I have Greenshot downloaded, I simply hit print screen, and I use the crosshairs. I click and drag. When I release, it gives me some options for what I want to do with that image. I want to open an image editor. All right, here is the image editor. Notice that I can also open a Microsoft document, and the image will automatically be inserted onto the page. On the left side, you see the editing tools. Let's go down the list and see what they do. First, we have the rectangle tool. This has many uses. I'll show you two of my favorites. If I want to draw attention to something, I can use it as an open box. I can also edit the box. Most of these edits can be applied to any of the tools on the left, so just know that anything we do to this box, you can likely do to the other tools we're going to look at. This row of icons helps you edit items you've created. On the right, the person with a shadow removes or applies a shadow to make the item 3D. Right now, the shadow is applied. You can see how it looks like it stands out from the image. If I remove the shadow, it's now 2D. I can change the line thickness with these arrows. I can change the color of the line. There is a full spectrum of colors, and it keeps track of colors I've used recently. which is handy when you want to be consistent or when you want to use UAS branding colors. You can also fill it with color. This is another way that I use rectangles. If my screenshot captured something that I don't want, but I can't crop it out, I can cover it. In order to cover it, I need my box to match the color of the background. I can use the color picker tool so that now I have an exact matching color. I apply. Moving on, I can use circles instead of rectangles, but they function basically the same. Next we have lines and arrows. These can be adjusted in terms of length, width, and color. These are great if you want to show students where the submit button is or which link will take them to the page with an assignment. The next icon is the freehand tool. I cannot draw so much as a straight line, but if you have better hand-eye coordination than I do, this will let you draw on the image. Next is the text box function. You even have an impressive number of fonts. You can change the size, and you have a few formatting options, as well as options to change the border, shadow, and background. I can type into my text box. Change the font size. Move the box. The next tool is one of my favorites. This is a speech bubble. There are many creative ways to use a speech bubble. I like to combine it with an arrow to annotate a particular part of the image. I can also type in it. I can move it. As needed. The last of the annotation tools is the counter. If you want to denote steps in a process, this is a quick way to do it. Step 1, step 2, step 3. The counter keeps track. Every time you click, it counts up. You can also change the starting number, as well as the number, color, and the background color. These three tools are effects that you can use on the image. The first is a highlighting tool, and it can be used in 4 different ways to draw attention. First is the basic highlighter. Just works like a highlighter, and you can also change the color of it. And you can also put a border around it. The second way that you can use this is by using highlight area. Now, whatever you've highlighted is the only thing that's truly visible to those who are looking at it. Everything else is dark and blurred. Grayscale makes everything black and white except for what you've highlighted. Again, drawing the eye to whatever you've chosen to be important. And lastly, magnify, which magnifies whatever you've highlighted. The icon that looks like a picture is the obfuscate tool. If you ever need to share an image but need to hide sensitive information, this is what you need. The obfuscate tool pixelates the selected area to make it unreadable. You can hide names or other identifying information when you want to share student work or any other sensitive information. The magic hat icon adds effects to the image as a whole. You can simply add a border all the way around the picture. Black is the only color and you can't change the thickness. It's either border or no border. Drop shadow creates a shadow effect so that it will look like it's standing out from the page when you paste it onto another page. Torn edge creates a torn look so that it looks as if it were ripped from something. Grayscale makes it black and white. And invert inverts the colors, dark to light, light to dark. This last section here includes the crop so that you can choose just a portion of your picture to keep. Click on the confirm, and there it is. That's all that's left of your picture. Everything else has been deleted. Rotate and resize. If I wanted to make this larger or smaller, I click on that and it gives me the option to resize. I can type in what I think would be a more suitable size. Notice that it maintains the aspect ratio. It's just smaller. And those are the main features of the Greenshot tool. There are many other things that we could do with this that are more complex that we may look at in the future, but now you know how to basically use this very versatile free screenshot tool.